And who am I? That's not a secret I'll never tell. You know you love me. XOXO. Gossip Girl.
What's up? We got Gossip Girl, Season 3, Episode 14, The Lady Vanished. This episode starts off with Damien surprising Jay in her room at the Vanderwoodsons, asking if they're still on for that night. Jay suggests they go out for dinner, but he tells her that they have a lot of deliveries to make and want to keep the drugs at her place for the day. She, of course, hastily says yes, and Damien goes to kiss her, but before he can, his phone rings and finds his father on the other end. He tells him that he has plans with a friend that evening, and Jane gets offended and thought they were more than that. At the Empire, Nate makes toaster waffles for him and Serena, but doesn't get as far before they sleep together in the kitchen. After they're done, Blair begins screaming from Chuck's room, and the phone rings, and Nate is surprised to find Chuck on the other end, asking him to grab his phone from his bedroom because he isn't at a good time for Blair to be snooping. After they hang up, it's revealed Chuck is at the hotel Elizabeth Fisher is staying at, and he paid off an employee for a key to her room. Back at the Empire, Serena enters in Chuck's room and finds Blair, and they're reading a magazine. Serena asks if she's trying to prove a point, and Serena says that she was, and she's glad she recently got the couch scotch guarded. Serena climbs into the bed and asks her what's going on. Serena admits that she and Chuck aren't really connecting, both sexually and emotionally. He isn't sharing anything with her, and she tells Serena that he recently went through something traumatic, and she just wants to understand he can always talk to her about whatever is wrong. Anyway, Dan meets a girl named Melissa, who offers him a pair of board shorts. He declines and goes to Vanessa's room. He tells Vanessa that he knows he screwed up, and he only meant to say he loved her as a friend. Vanessa says he doesn't have to explain himself, and she suggests they hang out to be normal. Vanessa explains that the dorm is throwing a beach party, and she's going with Paul. Dan offers to come and bring the girl he's seen named Melissa. She skeptically agrees to hang out together and he leaves. On his way out, he asks a random passerby in the hall if she happens to know someone named Melissa. At Elizabeth's hotel, Chuck enters her room after seeing her leave and begins to go through her things. In her suitcase, he finds a small trinket wrapped in a napkin. At the Empire, Nate goes in Chuck's room and grabs the phone. So he remembers that Chuck wanted him to grab his phone, and Blair immediately orders to hand it over, looks through it, and finds all the missed calls from a number she doesn't recognize and a new message. After Vanderwoodsons, Louie enters Jane's room to find her inside with Damien. Jane begs her not to tell Rufus, but Louie tells them both to come out to the living room. Back at the Empire, Blair debates whether or not to listen to the message. Serena advises her to put the phone down and just talk to Chuck when he gets home. Nate looks at the number and says the same number Chuck called him from that morning. Blair grabs the phone and plays the message. It reveals Elizabeth left a message saying that she's still at the Allegheny and that she wants that there are things he needs to know, so he should call her back. Blair says she knows Elizabeth was at that hotel, and Serena asks who Elizabeth is, and Chuck enters the apartment and begins to explain that her name used to be Evelyn and that she's his mother. Serena thinks it's great, saying how now that he has a second chance to find out what really happened. Chuck tells her that she came back for a reason, most likely money, and instructs Blair to throw the walker away, and then he leaves to go downstairs and have a drink. Nate assumes assures Serena that he'll be fine, but she's adamant on hearing the one out. Blair replies that Chuck was devastated when he got turned away by her, and if he doesn't want to talk to her, he doesn't have to, and everyone needs to respect that. Good on you, Blair, but knowing Serena, she doesn't retreat boundaries really well. At the Vanderwoodsons, Nate tells Jane that he wants to leave before anything happens with Lily, saying that he doesn't want to be the scared boyfriend. She finally replies that no one is asking him to be the boyfriend. At that moment, Rufus arrives in the apartment and sees Jane with Damien on the couch. While Lily explains that they should probably talk about what happened, talk about what happened. Meanwhile, Dan, Melissa, and Vanessa and Paul are hanging out at the dorm party. Melissa asks Vanessa how long they've known each other, and Dan says mistakes her for asking how long he's known Vanessa. She explains that she and Paul met at the fairy tale cabaret party and asks where she and Dan met. Melissa says they met in the hallway, but Dan quickly jumps and says he was lost. He then takes her to the play beach ball, and Paul asks, quickly jumps in to say that he was, quickly asks Vanessa what's really going on. She goes off to get more drinks. Back at the Empire Bar, Blair comes down to see Chuck, and she apologizes for everything that was happening. Chuck tells her that even if she is his mother, she isn't, because she never wanted a relationship with him. Blair suggests they go back to Bart's grave and leave the locket and never look back. Chuck agrees that would be what's best. After the Woodsons, Rufus blames Lily for letting Jenny have a boy overnight, saying that Jenny isn't Serena and that children need boundaries. He ignores Jenny to pack her bags because she's moving back to Brooklyn. Wow, Lily. She's taking his and Lily's problems out on Jenny and blaming this all on Lily, even though Lily didn't even know about this. Wow, Rufus, that's good parenting. Literally blaming your wife for everything that's going on with your child because you're mad at your wife. Wow, Rufus, that's good parenting. I'm joking, and that's bad. Again, that's bad parenting. That's bad parenting. Blaming your wife when she literally had no idea this was happening, all because you're mad at her, and saying that Jenny isn't Serena, and saying they're going back to Brooklyn. Jenny goes to do so. And Jenny goes to do so. Angrily goes off to do it. When she's gone, he tells Lily he's going to get the rest of the stuff as she begs him to stay so they can talk through things. Back at the party, Dan and Vanessa try to talk, but there are some weird pressures going on with them. He says they do something normal, like take a photo with photo cutout together. As they head to get into position, they realize that the area is very tight, and they make out briefly. Afterwards, they take the photo backwards. At the Empire Bar, Nate and Serena come down and announce they made reservations for Kalari for lunch. Chuck and Blair agrees to go. When they're gone, Nate asks Serena if she's sure they're doing the right thing, and Serena replies that Chuck needs a little push, and he'll be fine. At lunch, Blair notices Nate and Serena act suspiciously. Then they all see Elizabeth. And Blair quickly says it wasn't her. Nate explains they called her because he's making a big mistake by not talking to her. Serena tells Chuck to just hear her out because it's better than wondering for the rest of his life, and he thinks it over and decides to go over to talk. Back at the party, Dan and Vanessa find Paul and Melissa waiting for them. They explain they got to talking and realize Dan only met her that morning, right before Vanessa called Paul waiting to get back together. They walk off, telling them to either get together or don't, but to leave normal people out of whatever's going on with them. Wow. Paul and Melissa are basically the normal people in this situation. Yeah, they're basically be like, get together or don't. Just leave us out of this because we're basically not even main characters. So, yeah. Back at Kalari, Kalari, I think is what it's spelled. Chuck tells Elizabeth that he she was brought there under fake pretenses, and he wants to skip to the end of the talk. As he begins to write a check, she tells him that she doesn't want money, but he gives her the check anyway, and he tells her that he doesn't judge her for taking the money, and only strings attached that she'll leave and never come back. She apologizes and leaves the restaurant with all the money and returns to the table and tells Serena that she was wrong. Back at the Angel Woods, and Jane is packing when Damien comes into the room to see her to say goodbye. She tells him that she heard him call her a friend to his dad, and she's mad over being exiled to Brooklyn over a non-existent relationship. Damien says that since she's in high school, Rufus isn't totally being out of line, and he goes to the elevator, but Jenny stops him before he can leave. She tells him that she isn't immature and definitely is not afraid of staying up for dad. Rufus comes down and to show Damien she isn't afraid, and takes the pills and reveals some to Rufus. She tells him she can't explain. Rufus asks Lily if she knew about them. Because, of course, this is the Blaming Lily channel. This is the Blaming Lily episode that... This is basically the Blaming Lily video where anytime Rufus discovers something, he has to ask Lily if she knew about it too, just because he's mad at her over whatever she did with William Vanderwoodson. She replies that she she denies knowing anything as Damien asks Jane what she's doing. Jane replies that she told him she wasn't afraid, and they all go back to the living room. Rufus asks if she's taking them or selling them. She says they're holding them for a friend, and Lily relates how serious it is, and Jane asks what her punishment would be. Rufus tells her that this week goes by her punishment, as he doesn't recognize her anymore. Damien jumps in, telling Rufus that drugs are his and are actually his father. Meanwhile, outside, Serena tries to catch up with Chuck and Blair outside the restaurant. He tells Serena to leave him alone and walks off. Blair tells Serena that she knows why she did what she did and has nothing to do with Chuck. Serena admits that the reason is admits that it's the reason and gets into the cab. When she's gone, Nate asks Blair what she meant by having nothing to do with Chuck, but Blair later apologizes and walks away. Of course, Blair's being like Serena. Blair's basically telling Serena like, yeah, I know that literally you want Chuck to basically Blair's telling Serena that the only reason why the only reason why Serena wants Blair to get in contact with his parent is because her own dad doesn't want anything to do with her, so she's only interested in this, being like, maybe she can give Chuck the parent maybe she can get Chuck in contact with her parent, since it's obvious that Serena's father wants nothing to do with her. Of course, Nate's gonna find out about this soon, obviously. At the dorm party, Dan tells Vanessa they need to talk about their kid. She asks him why she lied about dating Paul, and she explains she didn't want to make things awkward. Dan says he just wanted to feel normal again, but Vanessa replies that stopped being an option. The minute he revealed his feelings. Back at the Vanderwoodsons, Damien explains the story with his father. He says when his mother left, his father went on drug binges and sometimes for a day at a time. One day he was gone for 2 days, but before returning home, fell to the end with a broken arm. But he got sober, and after the accident, at least until he found the pills in his house, and that's when he came home over to see Jane. He explains that Jane has been a good friend to him, and he has to didn't spend the night, and she was trying to distract him. Rufus asks why he bought the drug, and Damien says it was stupid because he wanted to get the pills away from his dad. At the Empire, Chuck goes to lie down, and Blair follows, asking if he wants to talk. He says no, and they sleep together. At the Vanderwoodsons, Jane and Damien sit in the dining room and shows them how Rufus and Lily totally bought that story. She had no idea, and he replies that no one does. Yeah, basically it was all a lie except for the broken arm, except for his dad being an alcoholic. Yeah, Rufus comes down saying he flushed the pills and it's time for Timmy to go. He tells Jane to be thankful she has a father who cares about what she does, and he leaves. She thanks Rufus sarcastically for ruining things with Damien, but he replies that she'll get over it. Meanwhile, Serena tracks down Elizabeth at her hotel, sees her checking out. She asks if she can have a moment of her time, not for Chuck, but for herself. They sit down, and Serena explains that her dad left years ago, but she wanted to know why. Lily explains why she left. Lily explains that she was 19 when she got pregnant, and her and Bart decided to give the baby up for adoption. Serena says it must have been a hard time, which explains the locket. Elizabeth replies no. Bart was the one who couldn't do it because when he saw Chuck for the first time, he fell in love with him. She continues that he even asked her to marry him, but she didn't because she didn't love Bart. Serena reasons that she must have been blackmailed by Bart then to make sure she never came back. But she says it was her idea for Chuck to be told she was dead. But that doesn't make sense, as in the first episode of season 1, Chuck totally says that his mom's alive. Totally says that Chuck stole stuff from his mom, that his dad that belonged to his mom. But now it's like, oh, Bart lied to him and said that his mom was dead when he was a kid. So the season 1, episode 1 thing, and the whole season of retcons here with Chuck's mom doesn't make any sense. Why would the writers say this? They basically retcon it seasons later. Maybe they thought Chuck made a better storyline character if he thought his mom was dead. But it's so weird that in season 1 he says that he stole stuff off of his mom, confirming she was alive. But then they retcon that, saying that she's been dead for years. It's very strange. Yeah, so he would never come looking for her. It was her idea to be told, for Chuck to be told she was dead, so he would never come looking for her. Serena asked if she had regrets, and Elizabeth said Bart sent her money every year, but she never wanted it because she never doubted her decision, and she finished it by saying if Chuck wants to hate her, she doesn't have to blame him. Serena replies that she's known Chuck her whole life, and he's good at masking his emotions, but there's no child who doesn't want to know their parent. She then leaves. Back at the party, Vanessa finds Dan and asks him to talk. She says that she does have feelings for him, but she's scared to act on them. She suggests that they throw down and find out what happened, and they kiss. At the Vader Woods, Jane apologizes to Rufus and asks if Damien can have visitation rights. Rufus says no, and since she lied to protect him and he's mixed up with drugs, it's just all around bad scene. Lily comes in and Jane pleads with her help, but Lily takes Rufus aside. Jane says it's only because of their fight. Rufus says it has nothing to do with their fight, and Jane reveals that Lily is sleeping until noon every day. He's hiding out at the law, and just because they finally found common ground, it doesn't mean they're right. She walks out of the room to go downstairs to wait for Rufus to leave. Lily makes one final plea to Rufus to leave, but he says that Jane needs to have her feet on solid ground, and he needs that too, at least for a while. At the Empire, Chuck apologizes to Blair for not telling her about Elizabeth. He admits that he only wanted to find out why she came back without finding out what she did. He says that he's writing a check with a test to help her pass by not taking it. The phone rings and Chuck answers to find Elizabeth is down at the front desk, wanting to come up. Back at the end of Woodlands, Rufus comes downstairs to find Jenny already gone. At the Waldorf, Serena arrives home to find Nate waiting for her in the front room. She tells him that he went to see Chuck's mother because of her dad and her need to find out why she left. She explains everything that happened with her dad recently, including that he didn't want to see her because he was with Lily. He admits that she finally realized after her talk with Elizabeth that he doesn't want to be found. Then he tells her that he wants to be the person she can always bring anything to, and she says she wants that too. He asks her if that's how her father feels, that maybe he isn't worth finding. She doesn't reply and just hugs him. At the Empire, Elizabeth finished telling her story, and Chuck is in the mute. She returns the check saying that now she thinks it's better if he knows her and will wait in New York until he decides otherwise. She goes to leave, and Chuck asks her to stay for a drink. At the NYU dorm, Dan and Vanessa sleep together and find they are amazing together. They then says that the reason she was freaked out was because with them, everything is so fast-tracked that they need to take things a day at a time. Dan agrees and they kiss. Meanwhile, outside, Jenny catches up to Damien and brings some pills he found in Lily's medicine cabinet. She hands them over, saying that Lily got headaches sometimes, and Damien notes that they are heavy-duty pills for a headache. He says they skip the party and kisses her. At the Vander Woodsons, Vanya comes into the penthouse and brings Rufus' scarf to Lily, saying that Holland turned it in and said that he left it at her apartment. Lily thanks Vanya and continues to drink her wine. At the Waldorf, Serena calls her father one final time to say she isn't looking for him anymore. In the Empire Bill, Bar Blair says goodbye to Chuck as he goes to sit and talk to Elizabeth. He promised her to call her the next day if she listens, as he asks Elizabeth what she wants to know, and she smiles as he hears Elizabeth say happily that she wants to know everything. Ending the episode. Okay, so Jenny's getting into the drug trade. Rufus blamed Lily for everything, and this was basically the blame Lily for everything episode. Lily now knows about Rufus's relationship with Holland Kimball. Serena finally let Nate in. Serena finally let Nate in on the truth about her father, and decided to take his advice and say, yeah, she's decided that she doesn't want to continue looking for him anymore. Because if he isn't gonna come searching for her, why does she have to keep wanting? If he isn't gonna come try to call her or anything, or want to even have anything to do with her, why is she gonna keep searching for him? But anyway, yeah. And again, Jenny's now in the drug trade. But anyway, that's it for this video, and I'll see you next time for Gossip Girl Season 3, Episode 15. Episode 15. The 16-year-old virgin. See you next time.